Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of Area 312 Rock and Metal Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Kent, along with my co-host.
Rex.
Friends, we're welcoming back two guest hosts with us, our dear friends from Megilloth Rock Hard Vinyl and Heaven's Metal Online Magazine, Jeff McCormick. Thanks for
Hey,
coming again.
hey, glad to be here.
Jeremy Brown from Torrential Riff. Welcome,
Hey
buddy.
guys, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You bet. Friends, Jeremy, he has Torrential Riff. It's Christian rock and metal album reviews as well as album mastering. So be sure and check out Torrential Riff. Without further ado, friends, regarding our very special guest, in the mid-1980s, he strapped on his bass and assembled a band inspired by power metal giants such as Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Bloodgood and Barren Cross. That band was Lightforce, which would go on to win Melbourne, Australia's Heavy Metal Battle of the Bands competition and deliver the now classic Mystical Thieves album, originally released on Pure Metal Records. Evolving into Mortification by the early 90s, the band's death, thrash, and groove metal elements captivated fans of the genres and captured the attention of both Nuclear Blast and Intense Records. All of this was with founder Steve Rowe commandeering the vocal helm. Having been diagnosed with leukemia in 1996, Steve is a cancer survivor who continued to record a host of albums with Mortification. He delivered 3 albums under the WonRowe Vision moniker, and he's also given other metal artists a home under his Rowe Productions label. Friends, without
Yeah.
further ado, it's our distinct privilege to welcome the one and only and legendary Steve Rowe. Welcome, Steve. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you. Well, it's just been it was a long time playing music. I played for 30 years, and before Lightforce, we had Lightforce had demos, and we had a female singer. Before the actual album you mentioned, Mystical Thieves, we did Battle Zone in 1987, and before that we did 2 demos with Lightforce. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Steve, we're going to get into Lightforce and Mortification and WonRowe Vision, but you have such a rich history. Is it okay if we wind the clock back to square one? And can we ask some questions from square one?
Yeah, sure.
Wonderful. Steve, I'd like to ask initially, what attracted you to music?
Um, I was I was listening to in the 70s. I was listening to Deep Purple. I was listening to Whitesnake, stuff like that. And in the early 80s, I heard Res Band, and that's what got me in. I was into Christianity big time, but I was listening to Whitesnake and Deep Purple, and yeah, and then I got into playing my own music after that. Sorry.
Steve, what influenced you then for picking up the bass guitar? What drew you to the bass?
Well, I was originally playing guitar, and I just stumbled upon a bass guitar. I found it easier to play, and I became a bass player, which was really good because when we did Lightforce and Mortification, I could easily slip into my own band. It was my own bands that I formed, but playing the bass was the best way to do it because no one played bass. So it was good. And I got a distortion pedal, and I worked over the years. I just worked out the sound and worked out what I wanted to do and stuff like that.
He came to set you free from the pain and misery. Invisible bonds that crush your soul. Slave to the devil you can't let go. Evil desires that waste you away. Evil desires won't go away.
So, Steve, let me ask you. So, you're into metal and all of that, and you also began a relationship with Jesus Christ. Can you tell us when your relationship with Jesus the Christ first began?
In 1973, when I was 8, because I was born in 65, I'm 61 now. I basically, I'd been going to church, but I became a Christian at school because a missionary came to our school, and she said, would anyone like to receive Jesus? And I put my hand up. Sure. So from 8 years old, and now I'm 61, I've been a Christian for that long.
That's wonderful, Steve. And then now you are friends with some friends of ours that we've had the blessing to interview and meet. And I'm talking about David and Rosanna Palmer of Rosanna's Raiders. I'd like to make mention really quick. I want to say thank you to David and Rosanna for connecting us with you. And, we've been blessed to have them on as guests. And Steve, I know that you are friends with David and Rosanna. I believe you initially met them at Harvest Christian Center. Was that a ministry and outreach to rockers all those years ago?
Well, I started going to church when I was 8. I was already going to church at the Baptist church, and then I moved on from the Baptist church and I went to hippie church called Truth and Liberation Concern, which was all hippies, and then I went to the Harvest Christian Center where I met my wife 36 years ago. I think we've been married. It's a long time, and it's good. And I met David and Rosanna at Harvest, and they're Pentecostals, which I sort of became for a while. But I've always remained an evangelical. I've always been the same. I grew up in the Baptist church, and now I go to a Presbyterian church, which is straightforward evangelical. So that's kind of my journey.
Yes,
Also
sir.
I had a stroke 10 years ago. So if I seem a little bit slow in getting my ideas together, that's why.
Yes, sir. And we understand completely, Steve. And may I say that you're looking and sounding wonderful. So thank you for blessing us again. And so, Steve, my journey as a fan began with you, beginning with this album. I was a senior in high school, and I saw the cover on Pure Metal Records and just had to have it, and I was not disappointed. So can you tell us, Steve, when Lightforce initially began? Kind of give us the history of Lightforce, please.
It started in 1985. I got together with Pedro and a couple of other guys. We started this. I wanted to start a heavy metal band, but something like Iron Maiden, like you said before, something like that style. But no one sort of liked that sort of stuff, so I just had to play hard rock, heavy metal. And then when we did Mystical Thieves, I guess we was sort of in the Iron Maiden sort of vein of playing heavy metal. But it was a great time. I remember everything about it. So.
Mystical things, get your identity, coming to greed, filled with enmity, feel the pain, you cover the cost, you're buried in sin.
Steve, Lightforce won the Melbourne Heavy Metal Battle of the Bands competition. You all were competing against at least 5 other mainstream metal acts. That was quite an accomplishment, wasn't it, to win that competition?
Yeah, we were a Christian band. We played with 6 mainstream bands, and we just played our best, and we won, which was amazing. And Dave and Rosanna said, "Look, if you go in this thing, you'll probably do really well." And we won. So that opened the door to all the clubs here. We started playing in the mainstream, which we got all of grief from the church. One thing I've always had is grief from Christians, from Mortification back to Lightforce, playing in clubs, everything I've had grief about. But I've just had to smile and just say, well, someone has to reach out to these people. When we got signed a Nuclear Blast, they had, the reason they signed us was, with Mortification, was because they had a lot of evil bands, really evil bands, and the owner was a Catholic, and he wanted to sign a Christian band. So that's how we got signed there. And then we got signed in South Africa, and then we got signed in Brazil, and that's why we're known worldwide.
That's wonderful. I am so proud of y'all for getting signed to Nuclear Blast, and I'll ask about that a little bit further down the road too. And Steve, was Roger, you were talking about Roger with Mortification's first eponymous album in 1991. Roger is credited as a producer and co-mixer for that. What was Roger's style of producing? Was he very much a hands-on, or was he as needed to assist?
Roger and I didn't get along well, but that's just life. He was okay. He died a non-Christian, which is really sad to say that, but he said that himself when he died at 61, the age I am now, and I don't know what happened to him.
So, Steve, I'm curious. It's kind of interesting how Mortification came to be from Lightforce, because at one point in Lightforce, Cameron Hall was in Lightforce, and Lightforce dissolved, and because I think you had mentioned at one juncture you wanted to take things a little further, and so you and Cameron Hall came back with Lightforce after Murray Adams had left, and then you all got Jason Sherlock. So you and Cameron and Jason created Mortification and recorded Break the Curse in 1990, but it was not released until 1994. So what made you hold on to Break the Curse and not release it until 1994?
It was originally done as a kind of a demo, and that was, and then Cameron Hall went to America and didn't come back. So we got Megilloth into the band. I don't know, that didn't work out with Cameron. And what was I trying to say? We just sort of started Mortification afterwards. When Lightforce split up, everyone separated, and I was on my own. And I said, I'll keep Lightforce going. And I got together with Cameron and Jason. And then Cameron left and went to America. I just decided why. And I got Megilloth, and then Megilloth and Jason and I recorded the second album, which was the big one, Scrolls of Megilloth. And then it went on from there. We did a lot of albums.
Yeah, I remember that Break the Curse was released in like 1990 on cassette, but it was a Lightforce album, and so,
Yep.
And then it later got pressed with Mortification as the name. But I remember getting that and thinking, what the heck did they do? They don't sound anything like Lightforce.
I don't know. Well, that's one of the reasons we had to change the name, because Mortification was so extreme, whereas Lightforce was more of a power metal band. And with Mortification, we tuned down, we changed tunings, we changed styles and things like that. So that was why. And I'm just really happy to be here with you guys and in the world. And I'm 61, so it's great to still be here.
We are extremely happy to have you fellowshipping with us, Steve. And you were talking about the down tuning of the guitars and transferring from Lightforce into Mortification. Steve, what made you say, guys, I want to do this. I want to go from a power metal band to what we might call an extreme metal band. What was it that impressed you to say, hey, I want to go to this extreme route?
Let's fire behold. Let's fire behold.
when 1989 I heard Bolt Thrower and Napalm Death, two British bands. I wasn't into the Florida scene at all, really, but I was into Bolt Thrower and into Napalm Death. I thought, I can do those vocals. And so I thought, we may as well be a three-piece, which is better than a four-piece, because it's hard enough keeping a four-piece together. So I thought, put a three-piece together, and we tuned down a little bit, went down to C, a tone and a half to C sharp. When we recorded the Scrolls of Megilloth album and the Momentary Affliction album. And it just sort of happened from there.
Wonderful. Let me then ask you, Steve, were you going to ask something, Jeremy? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say, how did you, so you got the name Mortification? How did you guys decide on the name?
When Roger was over here, he mentioned Mortification as a possible name change. Lightforce, he said Lightforce didn't really suit us. And I thought, I was thinking that. And so Roger thought of the name Mortification, but there was already a band in Brazil called Mortification. I said, there's already a band called Mortification. And long and short of it, we just chose Mortification because we didn't know the other band. But we came across them in future years. And they were a band that was from Brazil. They put out an album. I don't know. But there was a band in Brazil called Mortification. Back in.
I had always thought that mortification might have come from Romans 8:13, which says, go ahead, Steve.
Mortify therefore the deeds of the flesh.
Right. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very good. Very cool.
That's what it means. To die to self and to serve others. That was the whole idea of it.
Yes, sir. Very cool. And so Steve, you already mentioned, one of my questions was, because you all were an early extreme metal band in the Christian genre. There was Vengeance, which came out initially, their first album in '88. One might consider Believer or In Living Sacrifice. But you all were among that lot that was kind of in that first grouping. You said that you kind of got a lot of flack from Christians at the time because you played in clubs and stuff.
One thing let me say is that whatever the other bands did, we did our own thing.
Well, let me ask about that first Mortification album in 1991. The eponymous album, and Jason Sherlock, I believe, drew that wonderful cover for it. There it is, right there. And Steve, there were two covers. Jeff has the Cool Kids cover. Did Intense Records request a different cover for that album because they were afraid of that cover that Jeff showed?
I don't know if they released the what was called the main cover, but it was released. Which cover are you talking about?
Yeah, I guess you're not seeing all of it, but the regular scary one that the Christian bookstores wouldn't carry.
Yeah,
or they put the black cellophane over it so you couldn't see it.
Yeah, but then they released that again, and we sold 30,000 units. It was released twice. It was released as a black album, and then Intense released it with that cover. So it sold a lot of copies of that album. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Go to the Megilloth. Go to the Megilloth.
So you mentioned earlier that the gentleman from Nuclear Blast was Catholic, and there were a lot of hardcore bands that had a bad message, we'll say, and he was concerned with that, and he wanted to sign a band of Christians to his label. How did he come across Mortification? How did the gentleman from Nuclear Blast say, "Hey, I want Mortification"?
We were distributed here by the company that distributed Nuclear Blast to Australia. and he was very much a non-Christian man here in Australia, and he was distributing Nuclear Blast when they were young, when they were new, in the late 80s. And so Daniel went over there. There's the guy from Australia. And Marcus is the owner of Nuclear Blast. He said, I want to sign a Christian band because I've got so many evil bands, so many demonic bands, so many bands that had really evil messages. And he said he was a Catholic. And he said to Daniel, do you know a band? And Daniel goes, he knew one. So he put me onto him and we got signed with Scrolls of the Megilloth to Nuclear Blast. And that was what set everything off. And then from there we got signed in Brazil and South Africa and all over the world. It was really amazing how big it got with Scrolls of the Megilloth because we just got signed all over the world. We went toured all over the world.
Jeff and Jeremy, have y'all heard of that album, Scrolls of the Megilloth?
Yes. It's a
That's an album by
masterpiece.
them?
What a classic that was, and still is. That is an all-time classic for the genre, Steve. And I'd like to ask you, and Jeff and Jeremy, at this juncture, you all know to just jump right in because y'all are family. Steve, how were you able, Scrolls, and I'm going to give a quote here about this. On Scrolls, a gentleman from AllMusic, a critic from AllMusic, has stated about Scrolls of the Megilloth, some of the most frightening vocals ever recorded. And I'd like to ask, Steve, how were you able to obtain your death metal vocal sound, and did it ever hurt to perform them?
Oh, I performed them all the time. We performed them every week. We performed them 5 times a week when we toured the world. When we had Steve Johnson in Lightforce who was singing and he wanted to leave, I thought I'd start a 3-piece. And I heard, as I said before, Bolt Thrower and Napalm Death, 2 British bands, and they had that vocal style, and I thought I can do that. And so we did it, and got deeper and deeper and growlier and growlier. And we got a lot of flack from the church and a lot of flack from here and here. Everybody was weird. But I just tried to stay the same. I've always been the same. I've always been a mellow Christian, born-again Christian, and just got out there amongst all the evil bands and played our best.
Did it ever hurt, Steve, to growl like that? Did it ever bother your throat?
I didn't. No. Friends of mine tried to do it and had to have lessons. I said, how do you have lessons to do that? You just growl. It's not hard. I can't do it anymore, but when I was doing it all the time, it just came naturally, I suppose, because I wanted to do everything so badly, and I wanted to reach the metal scene for Jesus, and we just did the obvious things: tuned down guitars, did deep vocals, blast beats. It's crazy. It was fun 30 years.
Well, I ate it up. I loved it all. And many fans hail Scrolls of the Megilloth as their favorite Morty album. The album is viewed as a classic in the death metal genre. Steve, do you have, because it is such a classic, and post-Momentary Affliction is too, do you have, Steve, any fond memories of crafting Scrolls of the Megilloth, or the first 3 albums with Jason and Michael? Do you have any stories with Jason and Michael during those early years of Mortification? Anything that sticks out to you?
We just toured a lot. Jason was an incredible drummer, of course. And Mick Carlo was an incredible guitarist. Well, he didn't really play lead, but, such as life. We didn't really need a lead, but he tried to do some. But we just we just created what we created, I suppose. I said, what about this riff? And I said, go. Jason's an incredible drummer. But, I mean, working with people in a band, you don't get along sometimes. And so different people came, different people went. Jason still plays. He's still got albums out. I'm not sure where he's at. But I know I'm a born again Christian, and I love the Lord, and I love playing when I did. Wish I could still play, but can't. And that's all good.
So another question I had, then we talked, Steve, about the two covers for the first album, post Momentary Affliction. It also had two separate covers. There's the Nuclear Blast cover, and then the one like Jeremy's wearing there, which is the Intense Records cover. Steve, why was there separate covers for the Nuclear Blast version and the Intense Records for post Momentary Affliction?
We gave Nuclear Blast the Intense Records version, and they didn't want it. They wanted to do their own cover. So that was their decision. Nuclear Blast to do that. So that was the only thing I had. It. I gave them the original cover, and they said, we don't like that. We're going to use a different cover. I said, okay. I tried to be a people pleaser as best I could to try and give the people who were giving to me what they wanted to do, what they thought was the best thing to do.
And I appreciate that. I know, Jeremy, I'm going to let you weigh in. Jeremy, which one's your favorite between the two?
That's a tough one. I really like the post-momentary Affliction version. I mean, this version here more than the Nuclear Blast one, personally.
Yeah.
I just love the artwork, the colors.
That's the original one.
Yeah. So that's my favorite.
But the Nuclear Blast version had a story to it as well. Because if you have a look at the cover, I forget what it is. But it's a viewing of, where is it? It's a viewing of Friday the 13th when the towers got bombed.
Are you Steve, are you wanting to see the cover of the Nuclear Blast version? Is that what you're asking about?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I thought that I had it.
And Steve, I still bought the Nuclear Blast version, even though I had the Intense version, just because I wanted both covers. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Steve, I know that you're in a different type of viewing mode, but so I'm going to talk about it for a second. But can you see this? This is the Nuclear Blast version.
Yeah, it's kind of like the two towers, and there's two birds flying over. It's like the two planes that flew into the towers in New York City, I think it was.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was interesting that Nuclear Blast had that cover sitting on their desk, and they wanted to use it. So I think that was the reason they had it, and no one wanted to use it, and we used it because they suggested we used it. But it had that meaning. You have a look at it. It looks like the two towers and the two aeroplanes are two birds. So whatever you think, use your imagination.
Yeah,
sure. I actually like them both. I've since upgraded to the remasters in the 30th anniversary box set, but I did have the original Nuclear Blast version back in the day, and I like them both. I think they both kind of say something different. That's the throne of God, Jeremy, as interpreted through Jason Sherlock there, and that's a really neat one. But I also appreciated it conveys something different, the two different covers. The other one shows, the desolation in the world, and but thank you, Steve, for filling us in on that Nuclear Blast cover. I actually like them both. Steve, I've read. Go ahead.
So do I like both covers. So it didn't bother me that they chose a different cover because I like both covers. So, but we've used Jason's since and we've got another issue, a double post-Momentary Affliction vinyl's coming out. It's going to have some extra songs on there, so that's coming out on vinyl in about 6 months on Soundmass.
Wow. So we'll pause at this juncture. I'm going to go pre-order right now. No, Steve, let's talk really quickly, and then I'll get back on track. But since we're on post-Momentary Affliction, you said in about 6 months there's a special version coming out. Are there other Mortification offerings which might be getting some upgrades and things as we progress?
Well, Soundmass has come out with different vinyl, different CDs and things, but post-Momentary Affliction is coming out again. Came out 6 years ago. It's coming out again on double vinyl. It's going to have some extra songs on it. It's going to be opened up, so everyone can look forward to that coming out. Post-Momentary Affliction from 1993. Can remember that. And so whatever anyone wants to do, that's good. They just got to check with me. And
Yeah, that's another all-time classic.
I assume they're probably going to be with that because, when they released this on vinyl a couple years ago, they had to put that extra track on the 10-inch. And they have a 10-inch vinyl that has the missing track from this and the other album. So maybe they're going to put all of that on one and then maybe some of the bonus tracks from the CD. So, definitely looking to get into that.
And it's going to go on a double album. It's going to be a double album with photos inside from the time, of course. Cool. And, so it's great getting things released since I haven't played for 10 years.
Love song. Love song. Love song. This is it.
30 years ago, I had a bone marrow transplant, and they said if I last 1 year, I'll see 10. And I've seen 30, so praise God, I'm still alive. And I'm a grandfather now. I've got 2 grandkids. Ollie's 3, and Stevie's 15 months old. She's a little girl. And my son's 30. He got married. He was only about 1 year old when I got leukemia. So it's been good to see everyone grow up.
That's wonderful.
All glory to the Lord, Steve. All glory to the Lord, and it's such an honor to be able to fellowship with you today. And we are celebrating that 30-year anniversary with you since you were diagnosed, and what we're celebrating is how the Lord has delivered you from that, and you've got to see these other blessings in life with your family and adding to your family through grandchildren. So we celebrate that with you.
It's great to see my son get married 4 years ago, and he's got 2 kids. And that's really good to be a granddad. And I was talking to Jason Sherlock a couple of weeks ago, just about the vinyl that's coming out, and I said I'm a granddad now, and he couldn't believe it because I haven't spoken to him for ages. And so things keep going on. Hopefully I'll see 70 and 80 and 90 and see where we go from there.
Well, that is so awesome, Steve. And so Steve, back to post-Momentary Affliction. I've read where some fans of death metal were getting perturbed and starting to protest against Nuclear Blast due to Mortification's Christian lyrical content. And I believe that the gentleman who owned Nuclear Blast, the proprietor, you told us the story of him wanting a Christian band. Even when people were starting to get perturbed over, Mortification being a Christian band and your lyrical message, did Nuclear Blast always stand behind you? Were they always supportive?
Yeah, Marcus was a strong Catholic. I'm not sure whether he was a born-again Christian, but he was certainly a Catholic. And that was why he wanted a Christian band, because he wanted to even the label out. Because the guy that distributed Nuclear Blast here went over there and saw him and that was how we got signed through the guy who distributed us here. And I just stayed at home and I prayed that God's will would be done. And that was done. So what can I say? And then I got leukemia and it all finished, well, years later. But I thank God for what he's done and what he's still doing, because the stuff is still selling truckloads of music, truckloads. So all these years of being a Christian, since I was 8 years old in 1973, I just pray that God would help me to share his message with different people, and I've certainly done that. And that the church has really hated me for doing mortification. So why? I don't know, because they don't understand it.
Steve, I know you got resistance from the church, but I remember hearing stories of the black metal evil bands resisting you and trying to impede what you were doing. Was there truth to that?
Well, I got leukemia, but I still lived. So, but I went through a lot of. The first year of going through leukemia was just hell with leukemia, having bone marrow transplant and chemotherapy and stuff. It was terrible. But as I did before then and as I do now, I just pray every day. I was going through a lot of pain when I had leukemia. A lot. I can tell you. And but I lived. So I'm here to still tell the tale.
I remember Steve, whenever, and Jeff was with us on that interview, but when we interviewed David and Rosanna Palmer of Rosanna's Raiders, they had mentioned being in the studio and you came crawling in. When you had leukemia, they said you came crawling in and you told the studio engineer that not to. What was it, Jeff? You told them, "Hey, don't hang things up. That I'm coming back," and you did come back. You remember that, Jeff? You remember that story?
Briefly, yeah, very vaguely.
Yeah, Dame Rosanna were in seeing me when I was diagnosed with leukemia. So I haven't seen them a lot since. I've seen them maybe one in the last 30 years. I've maybe seen them once because they've lived up north and they've lived out. But I spoke to them recently, and that's how I got into this interview. And yeah, so.
Steve, Jeremy was asking if we know that the church gave you flack for playing in the clubs. Jeremy was asking if some of the dark, evil death metal bands ever threatened you in any manner.
We got threatened by the dark evil bands, got threatened by Christians, got threatened by everybody, the person next door. And so I just went on praying and doing it. And if people accepted us, they did. If they didn't, they didn't. I don't know, but I'm still alive, so such is life. But it was certainly an interesting time. When I got into doing this music, it was very extreme. Still is, I suppose.
Yes, sir.
But I'm the only one that survived doing all the albums, so.
Blood World, 1994's Blood World album. There was more groove and less death metal. So kind of groove and thrash on Blood World, more of the groove. And vocally speaking, you began doing more shouts over the growls. And so all of these things kind of brought a different texture to Mortification over the first three albums. So tell me about kind of morphing with Blood World.
I just wanted to continue doing each album as it came out, and as it came out, and it came out, I suppose. And Blood World was a little bit thrashier, I guess. But I'd done Lightforce, so I knew what it was like to tune normally to 440 and not tune down. And so we just decided to do the album that way. It was also produced in America, so it sounded very different. Very different. Because it was produced by Intense Records at Intense Records. So there's always a flavour as to why things turn out the way they do. It didn't turn out well, but post-Momentary Affliction and Scrolls went big, so maybe I should have kept doing that, but such is life.
Well, a lot of people like Blood World, and I like Blood World, and I absolutely love Song. I love the way you deliver that, and Steve, you were talking about being in the U.S. that year, and so that same year in 1994, that's when you fired up Rowe Productions, and that brought to the table bands such as Embodiment and Ancestor, Horde and Extol, and Ultimatum and Terra Maze. Steve, what made you want to bring about Rowe Productions at that time?
Well, I was thinking, I'd made a difference with music, metal music. So there's other metal bands. Gosh, that's my grandson. Sorry.
Hey, buddy.
He can join us, Steve.
How are you, buddy?
That's my grandson, Ollie.
Hi, Ollie.
Hi.
Hello, Ollie.
Hi.
Those people are in America.
Hello from
Ollie's-
the United States.
Crazy Americans.
Ollie's 2.
Very nice to meet you, Ollie.
Wonderful.
Ollie, I have a grandson who is your age, my youngest.
Yeah.
A 2-year-old and a 4-year-old grandson I have.
There's your other grandchild, too, I see.
Stevie. This is named after Steve.
Stevie.
Hey, Stevie.
Yep.
Stevie, wonderful.
15 months old.
Oh,
How are you, Stevie? Hello from America.
Come on, Stevie.
We're hot. It's very hot here today.
Yeah, it's summer over here. Different over there. It's winter over there, isn't it?
so what is the temperature there, Steve, if I can ask?
About 30 today.
Yeah, 32,
32.
which is, I don't know what that is in your temperatures at 90.
I will find out.
100 maybe.
No, it's not that hot.
Not that hot.
But it's hot at the park.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey,
You
Kate.
going?
Yeah.
How are you both?
Kate, before you leave, I was asking Steve about the song from Blood World called Love Song from Mortification. Was that the song he used to serenade you with?
That's right. That's what won me over. That's what kept us going for 36 years.
Congratulations on your all's anniversary.
That temperature is 90 degrees Fahrenheit. What you guys
Okay.
are having today, 90. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hot.
It's hot.
It's nice inside, but it's hot outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets hotter later at night.
Although Steve, can you see how Steve is dressed? Steve is always cold.
I'm
Oh,
always cold.
okay.
No, I'm
Steve
always
probably
cold.
has a lot of energy.
No, since I had the stroke
We wish.
10 years ago, I've been a bit cold.
I better keep going. Just got to get lunch. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Kate.
you.
Hey.
Influence in your life. We don't want fame, we want salvation. Influence for the cross. Unity of the faith across the nation. Go control the world and preach the gospel to every listener. And to all who believe.
talking about Rowe Productions, and
Yep.
you were saying with incorporating these other bands, what was your thought process for doing that?
I just wanted to get extreme metal bands and give them a chance to get distributed to the world. And I was only advertised. I got a lot of letters from Lightforce and early Mortification, which I collected. There it goes in a big box, and I just put them in the computer, and I had about 4,000 names. This was before the internet, okay, in 1993. And I ended up with about 7,000 names, mainly Americans and Germans, and I'd send out flyers every 3 months. And it used to cost me about $7,000 just to send the flyers out. But I made plenty of people ordering back, so it kept turning over. And we released 50 albums, different albums of different bands, and it was a good time. And when I got leukemia, I had to stop. So that was the reason a lot of things had to stop. Like, I didn't stop the band, but when I had the stroke, I had to stop.
You are remarkable, Steve. You truly are. Everything you've been through, and all glory to the Lord.
Yep.
Another album that I absolutely love because it's so unique in your catalog, and there's so much to love over the Mortification catalog, but I want to talk about Primitive Rhythm Machine from 1995.
Yep.
It absolutely has its own flavor. Jeff, say a few words so Steve can see you holding that one up.
This one right here, yeah.
Great artwork.
Yeah. That was done in 1995 in America with 2 American guys, because I kept losing people all the time because people couldn't tour. And I'd said to people when they joined the band, if I'm going on tour and you can't come on tour, I have to get someone else. Do you understand that? So that was all explained when people joined the band, that I had to tour. If people couldn't come, I have to get someone else. So I got 2 Canadian guys to tour and record that one with me. And that was done in America at Intense Records.
Great album.
Yeah, I love that album. It has its own flavor due to the drums, the beats and stuff in it. And now, Steve, I've read where the recording process might have been a bit rushed due to your limited time in the US. As a fan, I love that album. Are you pleased with that album?
Look, I'm pleased with every album because every album has a different flavor. And every album had a different producer, and everyone heard things and saw things differently. So I never produced anything. I just played it. So whatever the producer wanted, we did. And I put distortion on my bass. We tuned up and tuned down, and I played around with tunings and stuff. But whatever people think of the different albums, it doesn't really matter now. They're all done. If people like Scrolls, that's good. If people like Primitive Rhythm Machine, that's good. If people like, I don't know, the later ones we did, Relentless, I think is a great album.
It is a great one.
2002, and I'd been 5 years with leukemia at that time. So.
I mean, Hammer of God, that's a great one. I love myself being from Arkansas. I love the song Razorback. I have to love that because that's our the Arkansas Razorbacks. Steve, I want to get back real quick before leaving Primitive Rhythm Machine. Didn't George Ochoa work some on that album with you?
He produced it. So he was the guy that oversaw all the sound, the same as Mark McCormick here. Mark McCormick passed away a year ago at 59.
Mm.
And Roger Martinez passed away last year. So he was 61. So it's amazing. Anyway, I'll onto that. But yeah.
Let's move along to Triumph of Mercy, and this is kind of what we've been building up to here. That came out in 1998, and what a triumph it was because the Lord sustained you, Steve. It chronicled your journey with and subsequently overcoming acute lymphatic leukemia. And again, we give all glory to the Lord. It was 30 years ago that you were first diagnosed in 1996, and you've expressed how much you are so pleased that you can still be here and see your children growing up and your grandchildren. And what a neat album that was that you thought to kind of tell of your journey through that album, Triumph of Mercy.
Yeah, it was a difficult album to do because I was still ill, but I wanted to do it so badly, and we toured America with it. But I wasn't well when I did it, but I still did it. But it was a good album. I wanted to sort of put into music what I'd been through with leukemia, so that's why we did the album at that time with that album. And I don't know whether it's as good as the other ones, and we're certainly done. And I praise the Lord I was able to do it.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
I was still pretty ill when we did that.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it in the first year.
But you did that in 1998, and you did a plethora of wonderful albums after that. I could throw out the name of Envision Evangeline, and there's Hammer of God, and Relentless, a host of others. I want to talk about 2009's Evil Addiction Destroying Machine. As we talked about before we hit record, Resurrection Band is a band that has deeply touched Rex and myself, and our vodcast is a tip of the hat. It's a named in honor of Res Band by through one of their songs, Area 312. And Steve, I know the last song on 2009's Evil Addiction Destroying Machine. It's Resurrection Band. It's an homage. So please tell us, Steve, what Resurrection Band has meant to you.
It's huge. It was the first Christian band I'd heard, and I loved them. And I met them a couple of times when they came here and toured. And I met Glenn Case when we went to America once. And I've only seen them about 3 times. I mean, as far as people goes. But I've spoken to them on the phone, Glenn Kaiser, and they're lovely people. What can I say? How old's Glenn Kaiser now? I don't know.
He's in his 70s. I know that his early 70s, Steve.
72. That's what I was thinking. 10 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rex,
61.
Steve, Rex got to meet Glenn and Wendy 2 years ago at an Immortal Fest in the States.
Yep.
I actually got to watch them do their sound check, and that was amazing. There was only a couple people in the venue at the time, and then I got to talk to them afterwards, and they're just, down-to-earth people. It was wonderful.
I thank God for Resurrection Band, latest son of freedom, helped turn my life around, walking around, just taking confused, had no direction, no clue what to do.
Yeah, they're the sort of people that have inspired me to be what I was. Because when I met them, I was going to a Pentecostal church, and I met them, and I thought, I've got to be more straightforward like they are. And so that's why I go to the Presbyterian church, which is an evangelical church now. And it's more like Wendy and Glenn are. They're just straightforward Christians, and that was what I wanted to be. They're great people. I love Res Ben. Still do. Still listen to them.
Oh yeah, yeah. They never get old. And Steve, what do you remember the very first Res Band album or song that you ever heard?
The first one I ever had was the red one, I Don't Love Daddy Anymore. And then I went back to the first two, the Colours, and what's the first one called? I'm trying to check my memory now. The
Awaiting
first one,
your reply.
something like that. And there was another one before that. I've got them all on vinyl and still listen to them. Yeah, I love Res Band. And yeah, as much as I love them, I love Striper. I've got all their stuff they've released. And Michael Sweet's been through a bit of a hard time with his eyes or whatever. They come out here and they play smaller venues all the time. Play clubs now out here. And when they first came in, they played big, massive stadiums and stuff. So it's interesting how things go up and down. Yeah,
The music scene, Steve, I know you mentioned to us that you haven't played, since roughly 2015, 10 or 11 years. The music scene's changed a whole lot.
I know. People just listen to Spotify. My son's 30, he just listens to Spotify. Doesn't own any CDs. I've got so many CDs in vinyl, it half fills my lounge room, so. But I love all that stuff because I can get out an old album and listen to it on vinyl. It's good. But such is life. But I'm glad I was born in 1965 because I've been through a whole era of vinyl and CDs, and it's interesting.
Do you remember 8-track tapes, Steve?
No, I didn't. I didn't go back that far.
My dad had some of those.
I had some of those.
I bought them in the $1 blue light special bin at They weren't even $1 back then in the 70s. 50 cents, 25-cent blue light special.
Yeah, but you can't. I couldn't find anything to play them on, so I had the vinyl. I just bought vinyl. All of the shops everywhere, but now no one has anything. But there's still shops around that sell vinyl.
Steve,
Vinyl's come back.
Go ahead.
Vinyl's come back big time in Australia.
That's
Same
one
in America too.
Steve, I'd like to ask you about, WonRowe Vision. You gave us Mission Invincible in 2010, Pictures of the Past, Present, and Future in 2013, and Two-Headed Monster in 2015. And these have proven to be more experimental in scope compared to the power metal of Lightforce and the total thrashing death of Mortification. Steve, was WonRowe Vision, was that an outlet for you to experiment and expand upon your music?
Yeah, certainly to experiment. To see if I could sing, because I can't sing. That was the thing that got me doing death metal, Anyway, I tried singing. It was certainly an experiment that kind of worked or didn't work. Whatever people think, doesn't really matter. I did it. And it got signed. So that's all I can say.
Well, an artist always has to, a creative person always has to keep being creative. So I think it's good to try to expand and, on things and
Even experiment.
and experiment. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, And Jeff and Jeremy, I'm kind of looking toward the message from home here in a little bit. But Jeff and Jeremy and Rex, I just want to give you guys the floor and whatever you might wish to ask.
I just wanted to say, Steve, thank you for all the years, the hard work. What is the total? Does anybody know how many records? I don't know how many records Mortification came out with.
This many.
It's the amount of music you made and produced is astounding, and we still listen to and appreciate to this day. So I just want to make sure I'm sure I speak for all the guys. Thank you for ministering to us when we were youngsters. And, just like you, maybe not to that extent, but we got pushback from the world and the church. So we got it too. And we look to you guys, and you guys help lead us through those times. So we want to say thank you.
Die for your faith! Die for your faith! Die for your faith! Die for what you believe in!
I'm glad that my music meant something to people in America and Germany and South Africa and all sorts of places, and Brazil. I mean, we went big everywhere, but I mean, everywhere we went, I said, thank you for buying our albums and being into us or whatever. I didn't even really know. I just put albums out and did the best I could, and things changed. So some albums people like, some they don't like, but anyway, thank you.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add to that, I guess, same thing. I mean, and I briefly mentioned this before we went on the air, this little story I thought would be just, it still warms my heart some. But so I had my own magazine back in the day in the late 80s, early 90s. And so at some point you all sent me the first Break the Curse Lightforce tape. And I mentioned that it was way different and that they probably should change the name, blah, blah, blah. And then I guess when the first album came out in one of my issues, I said, I just don't get this vocal style. I wasn't into death metal, blah, 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 whatever they called it back then, grindcore. And I kind of said, you can't understand. Yeah, I just kind of dissed it a little bit on how it wasn't. But you took the time back in those days in the early 90s, probably about 91-ish or so, 92 maybe, and recorded a cassette, personal message to me, explaining yourself why you felt it was necessary for you to do what you're doing. And like I said, I still have that cassette over here to this day. And of course, since then, we became, a fan enough to buy all these vinyl records. So anyway, so yeah, years and years later, you sold me and, we got onto it. So it's been, same thing. You're just, you've done a lot of great stuff over the years and been so thankful for the amount of music that we've enjoyed. So, yeah.
No worries. Well, a lot of people sent me letters and things and said, I think what you're doing is evil. And I said, we're Christians. We do the best we can. We're reaching out to a scene that's a bit different. So, try and give us a break if you can, which is probably what I said to you. And it's amazing the journey of life I've been on. It really is. It's been a massive, massive journey. 61 years. Crazy. But I'm thank you for that. It's great.
And Steve, I got a question. Me and Kent talk about this all the time, and we've talked about the album artwork. That creates the first impression for, a fan or someone thinking about buying the album. All this album artwork for all the Mortification albums is outstanding. Did you ever get anything from the record company saying we don't want this? How did you have full say on what the album artwork for all the albums were going to be? Did they ever say, no, you can't do that, Steve? I'm just curious about that.
It was always my idea. Someone else always drew it because I could make the music, but I couldn't draw. And Jason and other people drew it. A guy in America, the Primitive Rhythm Machine. And it's just, I met different people who had skills, and I'd say, do you want to do a Mortification album? So I'd say, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I had ideas from songs I'd written, and I always had ideas on how to do a cover, but I couldn't draw. I could do the bass and I could do the vocals and all that stuff. So it took a lot of people charging me a lot of money to get things done. But I never wanted to put out an album which was just a basic, logo or something, because I thought that was a waste of time. I thought I might as well spend, a couple of $1,000 getting a good album cover done so I did. And it
So the
always got me-
record company pretty much whatever you kind of wanted to do, or your thoughts of what the album cover should be, they pretty much let you run with that then, correct?
Except, Nuclear Blast had a couple of their own ideas, and they did different covers. If someone wanted to do something different, I'd say, go for it. As long as it represents what we are on about, which is Christianity. And I never really argued with people. I just said, okay, put out a different... Because one thing I found with the first release, or the second release, the self-titled one, we had 2 covers, and there's heaps for intense because they put out just a black cover with the logo on, and they put out the color cover, sold the same amount again.
So, well, that's
Always-
pretty cool that they let you do kind of what you wanted for the most part. That's awesome. So, like I said,
Yeah.
the album artwork is spectacular on all those albums, Steve.
Yeah. Well, I always worked with really good artists. I worked with Jason Sherlock. I worked with a guy in America. I forget his name. I worked with different people. So it's probably different people that I've worked with that were really good artists. And it cost a lot, but it was good.
Steve, let me revert back to this one, Mystical
Yep.
Thieves, because I was so, as a youngster, so smitten with that. And even the stuff in the background, when one takes a closer look, and then even the back cover to that album, I mean, was just super.
The guitarist lived in a country town here called Warrnambool, and one of his bosses did that. So
Did you commission that from him, or did he had already had it drawn and you just discovered it?
no, Murray Adams and I talked about it, and then he talked to his friend about it, and his friend did that, and I was happy with that.
Oh yeah, that's a wonderful cover.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jeff and Jeremy, Rex, anything else before we head to message from home? Jeff, I think it would be neat. I don't know Steve's message to you all those years ago, but considering the time and the context, that when that was relatively early in Morty's career, I don't know if I don't know how long it is or anything, but that might make a neat message as a hidden track on a Mortification album.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I pulled it out because I wanted to digitize it before the tape, got bad. And of course, when he was really sick, and then when he had the stroke, and I'm thinking, he's not long in this world. I pulled it out, and it's been sitting near the tape. I have a tape deck and everything, but I'd have to actually hook it to my computer to digitize it. And that extra step of running a cable from over there to here, I haven't done it, but I pulled it out because I wanted to digitize it. I probably was going to do a video on my channel about it and share the story and play the message from Steve. But yeah, that I should digitize it and talk to Soundmass and see if they want to throw it in as some kind of a bonus.
they're putting out a 993 album again, so they could maybe put it on that album if you contacted Adam from Soundmass. Have you got the Soundmass contact?
I don't. Well, I mean, I can look them up on the website, I guess, and just contact them.
We can make that connection after we close out, because
Yeah, we'll get to work on it.
Jeff, how cool would that be if your message?
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah, because it actually has my name. It says, "Hey Jeff," so it's got my name.
Oh goodness. at the end of every episode, we always like to keep the main thing, which is the Lord's Word. And we try to take something from the artist, whether it's a song lyric or a song title or something, and we correlate that with a very brief portion of scripture from the Lord's Word. And I had mentioned to you earlier that Primitive Rhythm Machine was, I've always just gravitated to that album. I love your other works too. But your song 4031 immediately came to mind. And that's, of course, from Isaiah 40:31. And Isaiah 40:31 says this: those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And that's just a beautiful promise from the Lord. And your song 4031 is basically, it's from Isaiah 40:31. So, Steve, you've always shown the light of the Lord, and I just want to thank you. Like Jeremy said, when we were younger and just kind of looking for, as your song Influence says, from Triumph of Mercy, you know, we were looking for influence, and you influenced us for the Lord, and we're very grateful for that, and we give the Lord all of the glory.
To the sky, eagle wings on which we fly, high above the deadly fire, worship at the shrine.
Thank you. How old are you three guys? How old are you?
Well, I think, no, Jeffrey, you order am I. I'm 58, Steve.
Yep.
I'm 59, but I'll be 60 this year. So I'm a 66 baby. So 1 year younger.
I'm 65 yet.
Jeremy's the baby. How old, Jeremy?
51, 74.
Such a baby. I'm 54, Steve.
That's cool. I'm 61. So
yes, sir.
Right behind you.
Okay.
So, you know, Steve, here's what's funny. You were talking about, and we'll close it out with this. You were talking about, Steve, how you took flack back in the day, especially from the church, because of the style of music you were playing, and you also took some flack from some of the the non-Christian bands, if you will. But here's what's funny. My whole life, Steve, regarding rock and roll, they said you can't understand a word they're saying. Regarding heavy metal, they said they look like the world. And regarding death and thrash metal, I've heard that style of music is evil. Yet here we are today, you and Jeff and Jeremy and Rex and me, and we're talking about and giving all glory to the true and living God, the God of Abraham, and his Messiah, Jesus the Christ. That's what we're doing today, and we give him all of the glory.
I've copped flack all my life for what I've done, and people have even said to me, "That's why I got leukemia, because I did the wrong thing." And I got leukemia because my mum cooked vegetables in ice cream containers in the microwave before she knew it. That's probably why I got it. My brother got leukemia as well. But 3 brothers, and two of us have been through leukemia, and both of us have survived. So I don't know. I just say, praise God, I had the opportunity to make music when it was being made, because it's not being made really anymore. It's being made. It's being put on Spotify, and so my stuff still gets released on vinyl and CD. Praise God, I had a chance to do it when I did.
And we thank you, Steve. You're kind of like a modern day Job. And, we know that those who maintain their hope in the Lord, and this world is not anybody's home here. One day, those of us who place our confidence in the Lord Jesus, we will go home one day to where there is no more pain or sorrow. And so that's our very real hope that we are promised. So, Steve, we want to thank you so much. We love you. We thank you for your time. And we're going to say goodbye to our viewers, but Steve, don't hang up. Stay on the line with us, and we're going to wave goodbye to everybody. And we wish everybody, as Steve would say, metal blessings.
Metal blessings. Yeah, it's been good to speak to everyone. And thanks for listening, everyone who's listening on the podcast, whatever. It's been good to share my story from my point of view. It's a long time since I played.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, stay right there, Steve. Take care, everybody, and metal blessings.
Stone Elder, priest of the underground. Stone Elder, that's what I am, that's what I am, that's what I am.
Hey, I'm gonna have to go, guys.